weapons, everything to do with steel and development. That will soon be over because we've been able to settle out of court with the investor that was holding us
ransom.
Yes.
We're still going to revisit that about Jekuta. For now, time is beckoning on us.
Yes.
But I'd like you to, sorry, I want to touch one thing before we go on break. It's very pertinent because you raised it. Because we are going to look at what you are doing at the moment. Now, I was privileged to attend the Solid Mineral Fair in 2009 in Jos, Plateau State capital, and there all the states of this country came with something to present. They all have their pavilions. They showed so what they displayed there. Do you now require more investigation? Because these are geologists that came from different states that have what to present. If you come to them, they show you stones with names, labeled, properly labeled and all that. So are we still searching for what we have presented?
Whether we're searching or we have it already, and then Minister of State will answer all those questions. But that will be after this break. When we return from the break, definitely other guests will be joining us alongside the Minister to take a look at this sector. So promising, yet to see if we're hanging on loosely. This is Good Morning Nigeria. A break beckons now. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
I was distressed to notice that some of the comments, especially in the social media, have crossed our national red lines by daring to question our collective existence as a nation. This is a step too far.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, the Made in Nigeria campaign. In the midst of unprecedented multiple challenges, our great country Nigeria, as Africa's largest economy, is surely marching on to a new era of all-round prosperity, especially through re-engineered and diversified economy, powerfully driven by the change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR.
We will patronize local entrepreneurs. We will promote the manufacturing powerhouses. Our objective is to make Nigeria a new manufacturing hub.
It is not time to complain. It is time to join the campaign. It is time for economic recovery, growth and diversification of our economy by Made in Nigeria.
Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Ahmadu Bello, Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
These patriots worked together to achieve independence for one united Nigeria. Although some may say Nigeria is a mistake, we all know that the Almighty never makes mistakes.
God has not made a mistake by bringing us all together in the way that He has brought us together. God has put us together here so that we can build a community that will be an example to the entire world.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Dettol team is visiting schools to teach children how to protect themselves from diseases. Do you know how we get illnesses like diarrhea, cough, and cold? No! They are spread through germs on your hands. Your hands collect germs that causes diseases. You pick up germs from any surface, like when you don't wash your hands after going to the toilet, while playing. And then you can get sick because of germs. That's why you need to fight germs to stay healthy by washing your hands regularly with Dettol soap to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Wash, wash, wash your hands. What you have to do is wash, wash, wash your hands. Use Dettol soap every day. Wash, wash, wash your hands.
Another edition of TV Guide magazine is out with revealing accounts of trending stories. With the dwindling oil revenue, he says there is no reason to worry.
We strongly believe that culture is Nigerians' new oil, and we're going to show that by creating wealth, our art and culture will be a statement for all of us.
Our cover story is on Otumba Olusegun Runchewe, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture. For upcoming TV presenters, Elegant Elizabeth Banu tells you what it takes. A peep into the activities of the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative, a mandate being fulfilled. A trip to the Yankari Games Reserve and Safari in Bauchi State brings you closer to nature. And the Oshun Oshogo Festival, our culture, our pride. Professor Adiku, the Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja, tells us what it means to manage a university, plus our regular features, star profile, media issues, relationships, young minds, entertainment, sports, and lots more. Pick your copy now at the vendors or at every NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, still your indispensable companion.
Chief, good morning, sir. You are here already?
No, now my spirit day, my body day for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me jab questions.
But Chief, now, I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, Chief?
Later.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Well, the program is still Good Morning Nigeria, and our topic today remains the diversification of the nation's economy through mining. And we've been talking with the Minister of State for Mines and Steel, Abubakar Bawa Buhari, and also joining us in the studio to continue our conversation is Kevin Joseph. He's a mining investor. So you're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. Good morning. All right, and of course we have Janet Adeyemi. Janet Adeyemi is the President, Women in Mining Nigeria. It's a pleasure to have you on Good Morning Nigeria today, Janet.
Good morning.
All right.
Also, we have another guest joining us, but this time around from our Just Studio, we're being joined by a professor of mining engineering, Professor Stephen Malio. Professor Malio, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Let's get back to the studio. Well, if you not say I'm a bit partial, that's the world. I'll start off with a woman in our midst joining us. Janet Adeyemi is a president woman in mining Nigeria. She has been introduced. Now, for you, Janet, since the launch of the roadmap, yes, vis-a-vis some of the other areas of interventions, would you say for the development of the sector now that we have a de-risk environment actually sustain growth in the sector?
Yes, a lot has been done and is still ongoing in the sector, because if you look at the roadmap, you have what we call the immediate things to do, the short term, the long term, and all these things are being worked out it's being worked out, because right now you find out that before now, nobody wants to do any business in Nigeria. And so you find out that the ministry, in their own wisdom, set up what you call MIST. And that MIST has been able to address quite a number of issues. one of the critical issues being addressed is the issue of perception index through reforms. Reforms are being done, and that reforms have opened up the space to be able to attract sufficiently international investors who have been coming, and you could see this through some of the activities being supported by the ministry. One of such activities is that I remember that before now, if you look at what you call the the investment week or conference, you hardly find anybody coming from anywhere. But this year alone, we've been able to have 3 conferences, and the thing is growing by day. It's an indication to show that people are beginning to see Nigeria as a mining destination. It might not be full-blown right now, but at least we are on the right path. And then you look at the series of reforms like the mining cadastre. The mining cadastre before, it used to be business under the table. But now it's a question of first come, first serve. And now they're even going ahead of that. Yesterday we were in a meeting where the portal, the new portal, very robust portal, is going to be open. Wherever you are in the world, you can access, you can apply for license, you can pay for your license, you can track the license, and you can get it. See, these are all openings that are being done. And then for the first time, there's an interface, you know, trying to talk to and engage all stakeholders. That is children issues, women issues, and all these things are things that are actually de-risking the factors because they are best international practices all over the world. And you can see that the ministry is so determined to go on that route. So to me, I think once you have all those things in place, it makes mining attractive. It makes our mining in Nigeria conform, you know, to the international best practices.
All right, Janet, you are actually talking about the blueprint that has been established, and of course from your inside there, it does seem that it is working out. Remember, we're looking at diversification of the nation's economy. I want to see how this blueprint is trickling down to miners and mining per se, because people want to see dividends coming from that angle. We are talking about gestation, we're talking about the blueprint and planning and meetings and conferences, fine and well. Now, how has this affected, how do you think it will affect the proper mining exercise that will now, you know, trickle down to money, revenue, and, you know, of course, you know, for Nigeria as a nation?
Before now, nobody talks about mining in the country. I grew up in the mining environment. I grew up in Jos. But I'll tell you that between my secondary school days and university, you don't even hear anybody talk about mining. It's like mining was completely dead. But in recent times, I was a guest speaker for young girls called under WIMBIS last year. And you could see that they were all hungry to know what's happening in the mining sector. So the crash in oil prices has become a blessing indirectly for Nigeria, because you find that Nigerians are smart. Then everybody started thinking, what's the next thing? You find out that it is mining and agriculture, and you could see a movement. The movement, you could ascertain and confirm the movement by what we saw yesterday. We had a conference yesterday, Gemstones. You could see young girls, very young girls, everybody hungry, eye in the sector. And this thing is trickling down because you could see the exchange. People are buying, people are selling. Now people are more conscious of the benefits of mining in the sector. So the translation is already taking place. Professionals are being engaged because I studied geology and engineering, and you could see that even in that aspect, professional booming. People are now consultants. People are being engaged in that sector. So for me, you could already see the effects trickling down. Mining itself is not a quick win business, and you don't have immediate low-hanging fruits. The low-hanging fruits you can easily access in the sector are gemstone mining, because those ones you can have your rough stones. People come, they could buy. Though we hope that we'll be able to cut and polish, which is what the minister is equally trying to add to it, the value chain addition. But the way it is right now, everybody is conscious about it. Everybody is doing something. Where people that are consultants are working, people that are in the mining business are working, and people for the first time in Nigeria, young ones, because that's where you determine if something is successful or not successful, are moving. The traffic in that direction is high. People who are not even miners, you understand, who don't even have any clue about mining, are eager to learn. And mining schools are even beginning to spring up where people want to learn about mining.
Okay, thank you very much, Janet Adeyemi, President Women in mining Nigeria. We appreciate your perspective. Now let's go over to Jos before we get to speak with our guest or another guest who is here in the Abuja studio, who is already an investor in the sector. Now, Professor Stephen Malio, this is one key area that we know that as part of the diversification process for the government of the day, beyond agriculture, mining is one sector that are brought in so much, and so much is still being awaited. Now, repositioning the mining sector is one of the frontiers for this diversification. Now, would you, how would you describe it as a major catalyst in this process of development, really?
Thank you very much. Permit me to appreciate the understanding of the Minister of State and, of course, Mrs. Adeyemi. You can see the passion and the interest they have, and that is why you could see they have that deep understanding of what is happening in the country regarding the mineral industry. I want to say that delving back into history, you understand that mining generally started in this country at the beginning of the 19th century. You know, exploration, mining started in Jos, coal mining started in Enugu, bitumen exploration started in Ondo State and Ogun State, all around the same time. And for the first 4 decades, and specifically until 1946, there wasn't any law on ground that will mandate operators to reclaim the land that they have devastated. The law only came up in 1946, and we know, those of you who are lawyers, you know that in law you normally don't treat a law in retrospect to catch up with offenders, and that is why all over the country, especially in the lead and zinc belt region of Nigeria, Plateau State, Anambra State, Kano, and Bauchi State, there are a lot of areas that have been devastated. So, but between 1946 to date, by 1999, there was a law on ground, the Mineral Act on ground, and in 2007 there was another one, and then in 2011 there was the mining regulation. So the essence is that there has been a leap, actually in mineral investment in this country in the last few months, especially the present administration. And the reason is because of the passion and the interest the Honorable Minister has in this section. And as the earlier speakers have said, there is no sector of the economy that brings about positive impact and adds value to the economy of a nation than the mineral industry. But unlike other sectors of the economy, this is a sector that requires time for it to properly take up. A mistake was done in 1972 when the indigenization decree was promulgated by the military government then that nationalized all assets of British and European companies in Nigeria. That was wrong. And it happened and coincided with a time when there was a drop in metal price in the international market, especially the London Metal Exchange market. Key issues that discourages investors from coming into a country are country risk and resource nationalism. Country risk, it has to do with politics. When there's instability in the country, investors will not come. And when a country wakes up and nationalizes the investments of other nations or other multinational companies, that normally discourages investments. But as it is now, as earlier speakers had said, the roadmap has been established and it is being carried out systematically. As Mr. Dayani mentioned, a team was recommended by the people who